Hey guys, Barn Geek here. Welcome to part 2 of our $6,000 timber frame build series. In part 1, you saw, if you didn't catch that, you want to you want to take a look at that video. It details how much this whole project is going to cost, breakdown of material costs for the entire project to come up with our $6,000 price. So anyway, here you can see my son is sharpening some stakes. We're going to use these for staking out the outline of the barn. So we'll have 8 stakes, and that's 4 pairs. So we'll have 4 string lines, each to represent each wall of the barn, outside of the barn. So you'll see us laying out the strings here in the next few clips. Of course, it all starts with pounding in the first stake, and then we're going to measure out, because we're doing the long wall, so it's a 20 by 30 barn. We're going to measure out 34 feet. Even though the barn is 30 feet long, we want to go 34 feet with our stakes, so that way we have plenty of string to work with to fine-tune our layout. So.
Tape, I don't care which. Just pick it up a little bit, it's fine. Lay the tape measure down on the ground right there.
Again, we're going from one stake to the other, 34 feet. And Gizmo is there making sure that we get our measurements exactly perfect.
Here, take that out.
Now once we get those 2 stakes established, we're going to run a string line between those 2 stakes. And that'll establish the outside of our first wall, our first eave wall of this particular barn. And at this point, we're not being too exact with our measurements because we're going to fine-tune them later. It's easier to sort of sneak up on your measurements, and that way you have it dialed in exactly what you are to what you are going for. And in this clip, we're running out the other long wall, and then now we're doing one of the gable end strings. So this will be the 20-foot long section. And then once we got those 4, you didn't see we had 4 string lines established at this point, and now we are building a very large framing square. And the way you do this is you lay out some long boards, 2x4s. We're using 1x3s here for just batten strips that's going to go on the side of another barn. And basically you can see that we've screwed one corner together, and from that corner, from the inside of the corner, we're going to measure 3 feet and make a mark on the one leg of the square.
No, 4 feet.
Well, we changed our mind and decided to go 4 feet on this leg. That way we don't have to reach very far on the upper one. those of you guys who know the 3-4-5 rule will know what we're doing at this point. So we're measuring 3 feet, 4 feet on that leg, 3 feet on the other one, and making marks on both of those measurements. And then when we get those marks made, we're going to run the tape measure from one mark to the other and adjust
From that point to
the
that point,
angle of the
4 feet. And that's when we're square.
lower 1x3 until it matches 5 feet. So once we do that, we know this is a square angle, a 90-degree angle. So you can also do this, you know, you can increase or decrease the size of your
The blade on this side of the line.
measurements. So instead of going 3, 4, 5, you can go 6, 8, 10 to give yourself a little bit more accuracy. And then once we get that established, we're going to attach another piece across the two to lock in that 90 degrees so that it doesn't move.
This one's 4, right? We'll go 8.
Here you can see we're going to go ahead and, since we've got a long board here, we want to go ahead and measure 8 and 6 and then 10 feet on the angle, just to make sure that we've got a good, accurate square, very large square. So this particular, you know, some of you experienced builders might wonder why we're going through the trouble of doing this. We found that this makes it easy for beginners to lay out a string building, lay out a set of strings for a building in order to make the building square. That's one of the most important parts of the whole job, is to make sure the building is square to start with. Take your time and make sure that everything is square. You've got 20 feet exactly by 30 feet exactly, and that all of your strings are square. It's going to save you a lot of trouble in the future of your build and time as well. So that's a pretty simple tool to create, and then at that point we bring it over to our strings and line everything up. So we'll lay this on the ground and kind of eyeball it, and move strings around and kick it around until we get everything lined up perfectly on one corner, and then we work corner to corner from there.
Okay. Now we need to line it up down here.
So what we'll do is we'll make sure this one leg, this long leg, is lined up with that one string. That's the place to start. And then once you do that,
So we need
you can see it's not quite lined up, so we've got to move it.
edge lined up with the string.
Yep.
And then once we get that established, we can square off of that
So-
for the next string that runs perpendicular,
I'm gonna put my foot on
and then progress from there.
it. You spin that end around a little bit. Tell me when you think it's good.
Is that still lined up?
You're trying to line it up.
And even this part of the project isn't exactly precise. What we will do once we get several of these corners really close with our square, we'll go through and we'll measure corner to corner, and you'll see that in an upcoming clip. We'll measure from where these lines cross each other, corner to corner, until we have exactly the same measurements corner to corner. And once we do that, then we know it's exactly square. Also, just because you have this exact same measurements corner to corner, that's not the only thing you need to do. You need to make sure that it's still, no matter how much you've moved your string, it's still 20 feet by 30 feet exactly. So you'll need to make adjustments, move your strings around until you get that exact. One trick on how to do that is to establish that first corner first and then measure off of that corner to set up your other strings. That'll save you a lot of time. So now that we've got this corner established, we've got two lines that are exactly perpendicular to each other. Now what we'll do is we'll measure down to the other end and establish that string at exactly 30 feet from this one that you see running perpendicular to our main wall. And then once we get the other string, I don't know if it'll show in this clip or not, but and once we get our other string run, and it is exactly 30 feet from this string, then we can establish our final string at 20 feet for the width and double check our square, and we should be good to go. It really making this large framing square essentially that we can lay on the ground really helps us to dial it in so that we have a nice square platform to start from. So
Alright, go to the other corner.
How is it over there?
Well, you gotta measure. Make sure the corners are the same. Corners are the same and square. Ready?
Yep.
Perfect. Beautiful. We have a square. Lay it on the ground and just mark our.
okay, at this point, once we get the whole thing square and we are sure that it's square, what we want to do is we want to drive a stake in where we're going to have each post located. And since they're going to be 10 feet on center, we're going to start at this corner and go 10 feet on center. Now when you mark out where your posts are going to be drilled, you want to remember that your string is the outside of the post. So you want to drill your holes or dig your holes for your piers on the inside of the string, not right on the string mark, but on the inside. And then that will give you plenty of platform with which to attach your posts. And in the next video, you'll see we're going to build some frames out of some 1x3s for pouring our piers, and that'll establish us a 16-inch by 16-inch pad essentially at the top of the pier that we can use to do some fine-tune adjustment to establish our location of our posts. So okay, with that, I think that's going to be it for this video. I know we didn't get very far into it, but I want to make sure to be very detailed and have short videos so that you guys don't get bored and you don't get overwhelmed with too much information in one video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe and click the thumbs up to see part 2. And in part 2, we're going to be building the frames for the concrete piers that we're going to be putting in and digging those, and possibly pouring the concrete piers. We'll see how far we get, and then we'll go from there. This is going to be a several part video that's going to be coming out over the next few weeks to months, and I hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching, and have a great day.